I will say before I begin reading that this is a work of critical theory and philosophy, so there are some terms that we may be unfamiliar with, and for that explicit purpose, I actually have a glossary in the back of the book as well. So I might be reading some things, and but it's all broken down. Hip hop culture is manifest in b-boying, breakdancing, graffiti writing, DJing, and emceeing. Reflects an artistic commitment to seize freedom from oppressive social conditions. This artistic commitment, inherent in hip-hop culture, expresses a reality of human transcendence, originally born out of the creative impulse and cultural improvisation of the oppressed African-American, Afro-Caribbean, and Latino-American communities of New York City, with the South Bronx as the epicenter in the late 1970s. Each cultural manifestation of freedom embodied in hip-hop comes about through rebellion against established, socially sanctioned norms of modern artistic expression. These cultural manifestations of freedom are properly referred to as the original four elements of hip-hop, and though widely celebrated, their worth as genuine aesthetic rebellion is rarely understood. The b-boy pushes the limits of rhythmic motion and redefines the relationship between the human body and gravity in ways which have no parallel in modern forms of dance. The graffiti artist or writer explodes antiquated notions of acceptable locations for artistic placement, as the urban landscape itself becomes the ultimate canvas for postmodern hieroglyphics brought to life with imagination, daring, and aerosol spray paint. The DJ transforms the turntable from technology designed to play recorded music into an instrument fundamentally responsible for musical creation. In the studio, the DJ producer creates a type of music which rejects formal notions of harmonious melody, notes, and chords in favor of an unyielding recomposition of intense rhythmic fragments which serve as the sonic foundation for the lyrical expressions of the eMCee. The eMCee resurrects the relevance of poetic expression in the streets by mastering the art of word and language usage in a manner which weds intellect to rhythm in giving birth to an incredible and unprecedented lyrically driven musical phenomenon. As the foundation of hip-hop culture, these manifestations constitute a rebellion against sedentary artistic norms, a challenge to the legality of imposed creative limitations, and reveal a distinct style and vision which reflect a unique set of corresponding aesthetic principles and values. These aesthetic principles emphasize unlimited innovative originality over formulaic imitation, prioritize that which is rugged or unfixed over that which is smooth or polished, and exalt qualities which don't seek to filter truth in as raw a form as possible. In this sense, hip-hop aesthetics can be characterized as artistic styles and cultural sensibilities which value that which is original, rugged, and raw. These hip-hop aesthetic values are determined within a specific subjectivity of lived experience and social identity unique to the neo-colonial American ghetto. Hip-hop aesthetics can still provide an invigorating source of Black cultural resistance to Western imperialism by transcending the established realities of political subservience and economic exploitation through artistic mastery and cultural expression. Hip-hop culture can even be considered revolutionary when it assists in ensuring that potentialities for human liberation remain alive and culturally accessible to the grassroots Black community. However, conscious revolutionary lyrics are no substitute for actual human liberation, even though such lyrics may be a part of the process in initiating a growth in grassroots consciousness, which is a necessary and fundamental precondition for any meaningful attempt at social change. The unchallenged permanence of Western imperialist social structures ultimately thwarts the stated emancipatory aims of Black cultural resistance, when such cultural resistance remains at a safe length from radical social praxis. As such, it is the spiritual responsibility of the hip-hop intellectual to critically address and radically confront these structures of Western imperialism, which continue to thrive and remain socially relevant to the lived experience of the postmodern lumpen proletariat in neo-colonial American ghettos. The hip-hop intellectual who embraces this spiritual responsibility inherently develops a more radical perspective of social critique. The current necessity of developing a critical consciousness for radical intellectual activity is becoming extremely urgent, especially as Western imperialism becomes more adept at camouflaging its true nature while continuing to suffocate possibilities for authentic human being and human liberation. Faced with the suffocation of these human potentialities, the hip-hop intellectual is confronted with the responsibility of choosing a microphone, a laptop, or a semi-automatic handgun with spare clips, in mediating against this existential burden of oppression. This tension between hip-hop aesthetics, black cultural resistance, and their indirect relationship to emancipatory social praxis contributed to my death as a purely hip-hop intellectual and my rebirth as an independent radical intellectual focused on human liberation. The following critical essays bear witness to the spiritual revolt, historical awareness, political contradictions, and philosophical challenges which characterize that transition.